and so on. Now, could they go out of that? No, they can't go out of it. And because they can't go out of it, they caused the separation, which normally there's no reason why our world should be separated from the world of Beis HaChaim. No reason. In other words, if we were all passive and not hateful, because that's the reason, and that was where the consciousness of the Jews were, right? Sinat Chinam. That was the reason. Hey, hey, hey. And because of that, they caused a separation that Eitz HaChaim cannot, or the light force of God, or God, could not shed his beneficence, and it should never have happened, even after it happened. Had they not gone down to the level of hatred, which that level of hatred already doesn't permit spirituality or a connection with spirituality to take place. And once it became separate, so Zohar explains, what do you mean? It became, if I'm the word lame, it became, like a domem, someone who, an elam, someone who cannot speak. Mishum shenistalek vav menahei, bakol lo nimtza. What's the problem when someone, say is dumb? Not dumb and intelligent, but that he can't speak. Just can't speak. No words come out. No words come out. What's wrong? Because there's no voice. No voice. Could be speaking, but there's no voice. And voice originates with Zerampin, says the Zohar. And because, in that particular child's case, the Vav became separated. Vav became separated from the Vav. Like Elaim comes from the word Elokim. And what two letters are missing? The Yud and the K, right? The word Elokim, Aleph Lamed K Yud Mem. The word Elaim, that there's no voice. And what it means that there's no voice is because, and that's the cure. That's the cure. That if someone cannot speak, it happens even sometimes by a person has a stroke, he can't speak also. Can't speak. Can't speak. We've heard slurring, things of that nature. What's wrong? That's the Yud K of the Elokim is gone. The Yud K, we know what the Yud K means. If that's gone, why is that gone? Because the Vav is gone. We are not connected to the Yud K of the Tetragrammaton. The Vav is the missing link between Abba V'Ima or Chachma and Bina, meaning because they're constantly in circuitry, ready to help. But because the Vav became separated from the K, and therefore there's no voice. But really what it means, there's no Zerampin, there's no energy of the Yud K. That's where the word Elaim comes from. That's where the word Elaim comes from. It comes from the word Elokim. But whereas Elokim in our world sheds energy, but if the Yud K is missing, then it's only Elaim. Bakol lo nimtza, v'az hadibor mitayim perish, says Rabbi Ashlag. Zera ben Yisod vav shalavaya v'nikra kol. Hanukva hi he'achrona shalavaya v'nikra dibur. Voice is on a high level. When voice is translated into words, that means it's gone down a level. כיוון כפי שיסוד נפרדה מן הוו, הרי היא נשארת כדיבור בלי קול. ועל כן אומר הכתוב על זמן הגלות, נעלמתי דומיה. There's no voice. Why can't we know? Why can't we know when it's going to come? No, but if we have the help of it, why can't we know when it comes? Why can't we know? Because the Rampin is not there. The light force is not there. And so everything is in that Bechina, everything is in that phase of Elaine. ומשום זה, היא שוכבת באפר הגלות כל אותה היום של ההי. ומיהו הוא 1050. That's why this is the darkest period in history. We're now in the 60th. We're now in the 6,000 years. We're now in Elef HaShishi. Elef HaChamishi was known as the millennium of darkness. Millennium of darkness. Shayavo Elef HaShishi, says the Zohar, Shu Sod Avav, Dahainu HaYesod, Shuhu Milui Havav, Shuhu Zeir Ampid. And we see, beginning with this millennium, we had, after a few hundred years, we had the revelation of the Zohar. Although, for all the good reasons, the Zohar was concealed again from about when it was revealed. It was revealed about 1270 until the Ari HaKadosh, about 1530. So that period of 300 years, concealed again. Concealed. But it was revealed by the Ari. So there were periods there that it was unrevealed. But in the Elef HaShishi, we saw the revelation. It was still in the Elef HaShishi, but we see all different kinds of revelations. Translation of the Zohar, the Ari, the writings of the Ari are now clearer. And Avraham Azulai, I mean, all of the Kabbalists, there's so much written on it today. Anyway, because it's Elef HaShishi, which means the Vav, Az Vav Yakum et Haheshi Hanikva Bizman Shesh Pam Eser, 6 times 10. Right? What does that mean? Rabbi Ashlag has a long discourse on this. V'avav ole biyud mishem avaya shi hakisei ba'az vav yoredet. The vav will go up with the k, and then it will begin to influence or bring the abundance. Perish kizer ampin yekabel mochin shleimim mebchiniat achachma b'kviyut v'yashpia otam lenukva as tiyeh hagula. In other words, when Zeir Ampin resumes channeling all of the shefa, all of the beneficence, then there will be a redemption. Zeh sod, zeh omer, he sod habav shel shem havai. That's what it means. The vav al shem shesh hasfirot shelo chagat nahi shechaser gar. Right now, the vav is missing the gar shehem ketach chachma bina. אפילו כשיש לו מוחין דגה, עדיין הוא חסר כתר חכמה בינה, אלא רק חגת שלא עולים ומלבישים לכתר חכמה בינה. Too complicated, but in any event, even though the chagat, the first three sfirot of Zeir Anpin, can and goes up, but the Keter Chachma Bina did not connect. That's why we say certain times we go up. But it didn't become stationary by us. That's a Chabad. There are four mochin. Mochin means moch. Moch means the brain. Well, that's the translation. But just what it means is just like the brain. What is the brain? The brain is, use your brain. It's a mistake. Brain is only that physical vessel. It's like telling the cup, give me the water. The cup can only be used when I want to bring the water. But the cup doesn't. Same thing with the mochin. When there are, and the mochin have names. There are four mochin. There's ruach, neshama, chai, yechidah. She'amochin de koma Zeir Anpin nikra ruach. The name of that mochin, that vessel, the brain of which is ruach by Zeir Anpin, because you have nefesh, ruach, neshama, chai, yechidah. Mochin mibina nikra neshama, or mochin de chachma nikra chaya, or mochin de keter nikra yechidah. V'chein b'kol echad me'elu hadalud yesh dalud b'chinot mochin halal. U'meb'chinat ha'mispa נבחנים מוחין דרוח לעשרות, שהם 60, כי זעיר אנפין, ספירתו בסוד עשרות. I don't know if you know this, but we learned that Zeir Anpin is in asarot, meaning in the multiples of 2, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Mochin in the Shema, but in the level of Bina, there you have the numbers of males. That's Bina. Mochin dechaya lalafim shehem sheshet alafim. It's like like you have in the circles. Outside is chachma, inside is bina. What does all that mean? Meaning greater quantums of levels of consciousness. Chachma is the wider one. That's why it's the outside circle, and so on. So the thousands embrace the hundreds. The hundreds embrace the tens. But the tens don't embrace 1,000, don't embrace the 100. And the 100 don't embrace the 1,000. That's understandable. This is what it means. The Vav yukam lahei bizman hashit zmanim eser. שזעיר אנפין שנקרא ו' יקים את ההי שהיא הנקבה בזמן שיהיה לו מוחין דגר בכפיות הנבחנים ראשית זמנים 10. כלומר, what does that mean? This is how Moshiach will happen. שכל קצה we have it. Yeah, all right. You notice, this makes no difference which one. Notice you have, this is called the Keter. Next one, the inside, is called Bina. This one is Zeir Anpin. No, this is Bina, Zeir Anpin, and Malchut is the middle point. Because it has no light of its own. It has no light of its own. doesn't have the potential for taking life. Only what Zeir Anpin gives us. So it's obvious that this embraces everything else. So this is called thousands, this is called hundreds, and this is called, this Keter could be a light, and so on. This embraces this embraces that, but this does not obviously embrace just by looking at the visual picture. So, what is he saying here? The Vav Zeir Anpin of the Tetragrammaton is Yakim et Hey Shehi Anukva. That will bring up, that will make rise the Hey. Bisman Sheyeh Lo Mochin Dega B'Kviyur. When will that be? When Zeir Anpin will acquire the Mochim, that potential vessel, the brain that can receive the Mochim of God, which is Keter Chachma Bina. The Kviyut, not come and go. Hanevchanim l'shit zmanim eser. Klomar, shekol kaseh shelo masiga v'nase eser. Every one of its ends, each one achieves Ga. Each one has its own Ga. The Nasa Eser. How does it become Eser? There's only 9. We'll leave that for a minute. Ubechinat Etzem Hasvirot Eina Ela Chagat Nahi HaChasidim Ga. He says it'll reach 10. Why will it reach 10? Because when Zeir Anpin will make its connection with Ga, the upper 3, only then, when it's B'Kviyah, only then will Vav be able to influence Malchut, and when that happens, then Malchut will be the 10. But this is only when the Vav is Salkal Yud. Shavashu Zeir Anpin Yikabel Mochin Min HaYud Shel Havaya Shia Chachma Shesivirotel Hein Me Alafim, which is thousands. V'yeh b'mispah sheshet alafim. Because the 6 now achieves what? Connection with Chachma. When it'll go up there, in other words, we have to bring it up there. By our actions, we bring it up there. Remember what he began off by saying? Because our consciousness is that we're in Galut. What does that mean? We're in chaos. Well, if we're in chaos, then we can't be connected to the world of Eitz HaChayim. So by not being connected to the world of Eitz HaChayim, the rule is that Zeir Anpin has no reason anymore to receive the energy from Keter Chachma Bina. Why? For what reason? Who is it going to give it to? Because the consciousness is that we can ever be connected with Eitz HaChayim. Ask most people in the world, how would you get along without chaos? They'd answer you, I don't know. Never experienced that kind of a life. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of the unknown. Who knows what it would bring? Listen, that's the Yasher Yanoi. We'll laugh and say, what's the matter with you? People will be afraid to let go of their familiar chaos. That's a world I know how to deal with. Now I come to an unknown world, but the unknown world is Eitz HaChayim. How could there be such a world when it doesn't look like it's here? The same way as immortality. How could there be immortality? I mean, look around. Now you want me to go do and enter into another dimension, a dimension that I'm not familiar with. Leave over all this that I'm familiar with. Well, people can't think like that. Yeah, because for them it's an unknown dimension. They have more fear. They'd rather hold on to the chaos and know that at least the chaos, I'll try to find my way out of it if I can. But go now into another dimension. And that holds it back. But if the consciousness here changes in the hay, then Vav has a purpose as to why it should channel and for whom. So then the Vav's Kesavot, the 6 Svirot, can then attach themselves to Chachma, and they draw down to themselves the thousands that are in Chachma. Rabbi Ashlag here is trying to explain how the Zohar arrives at the idea that an Elef HaShishi, and so, because these numbers fit into that category, that is the time that this can happen. Amnam ein sichim. This Rabbi Ashlag adds it for our benefit. This is not the end of the 6th millennium. 6th millennium has 5,760. How many more does it have to go? 240, right? Not the end. So, does that mean from the Zohar you have to wait until the end? So along comes Rabbi Ashlag on his own. Amnam ein sichin sheshet alafim shleimin. You don't have to have a full 6,000 year. Why? Mipnei shehachachma asma mitparetet gam kein leran chai. It itself also consists of 5 levels. Shemasig neshama mechachma shehi mispar sheish miot melef hashishi miyad yitpashtun tarid chachma. Everybody understand this part? Because it also has a yechida, has a keter. Well, we don't have to go up the keter, because if we reach that 6th level of chachma, even though it's true we haven't completed the whole connection, and therefore Rabbi Ashlag learns that we won't have to wait until the end. We don't have to wait. And he said in the 6th, when it was 6, the Zohar says, it's amazing. Everything is in 60s. Everything is in 60s. Coming again from 6,000, 60, they're all essentially the number 6. B'chol shishim v'shishim shebe'elef hashishi mitchazek et ha'hei v'nitalat v'madregel l'tchazek. Every time there's a 60 in the 6th millennium, it has the opportunity to connect with the Vav. So that's why 5,760. Days. And therefore, Yiftachu Sharei HaChachma L'Mala. The gates will open up. And the world will become Mitzukan, prepared, ready to go into the 7th millennium. Just like a person who prepares himself, B'yom HaShishi, again, 6 days a week is the same concept. When he prepares himself for the Shabbat, Kidei L'Kanes B'Shabbat, Avkan Kain. This is the same idea. We can prepare ourselves in the Elef HaShishi, waiting to go into the Elef HaShishi. This is the Seder. Yeah. Okay, we'll continue.
So the last time it took place was 100
what?
years? The last time it took place was 100 years ago.
No, I just can't imagine what happened. That would be
1898.
What's that? 1898. I wonder what happened then.
Maybe Rabbi Ashlag.
What?
Maybe Rabbi Ashlag.
No, he was born before. Wait, right away. He died 55.
It's 1900.
55, 14 years before that. or 13 years before, it's not so sure. 13 years before that puts it at 1887. But that could be Tafresh Samach. Right? Just like in 98, it'll be Tafshin Samach, right? 99, I mean. About that time. Yeah, he was born about that time. Right, he was born about that time. All right, you continue and you managed to be up to the Zman is 5:15. 5:15. Yeah. All right. Have some air, everybody.
איפה יהודה?